Michael's one of the greatest players that ever played the game.
You know, growing up in the 90s, Michael Jordan
will always be the GOAT. Always. I don't care who comes along.
They say becoming the greatest ever isn't about a single moment. It's built from countless unforgettable moments. But there is one moment, hidden deep inside Michael Jordan's legendary career, that forever changed how the world saw basketball. And it wasn't just a shot, a dunk, or even a championship. It was something even more special, something intangible, yet undeniable. Today, we're going to rewind history to the exact moment Michael Jordan went from basketball star to something beyond, the GOAT. But to fully grasp it, you've got to step back into a time when the word GOAT didn't dominate sports conversations, and debates weren't lighting up TV screens or social media feeds. It was an era defined by Magic Johnson's flair, Larry Bird's precision, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's unstoppable skyhook. Greatness was everywhere, but nobody was the undisputed greatest. In the early 1980s, basketball had legendary figures: Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Fans respected greatness without endless arguments about who was best. Magic and Bird's rivalry dominated conversations, but the idea of one clear greatest ever was nearly non-existent. Fans had their favorites. They argued over Magic versus Bird. They marveled at Kareem's numbers. But nobody was throwing around the word GOAT. It just wasn't part of the conversation. Greatness was celebrated, sure, but it was shared. Then Michael Jordan entered the league, and everything began to shift.
The Chicago Bulls picked Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
In 1984, the Chicago Bulls drafted a wiry guard out of North Carolina, a guy they hoped would make some noise in the league.
18. Shot. Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Nobody knew they had just signed the future face of basketball. Nobody except a few people who saw the storm coming. And one of them was legendary coach Bobby Knight.
If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them.
Not after seeing him drop 30 a night in the pros, not after MVPs or rings. Before he played a single minute of NBA basketball, Knight was calling it. At the time, it sounded insane. A college guard, better than Magic, better than Bird. People thought it was just another wild coaching take. But Jordan wasn't just another player, and he didn't waste any time showing the world why. In his rookie season, Jordan did something that, to this day, no one has been able to replicate. He torched defenses for 28.2 points, grabbed 6.5 rebounds, and dished out 5.9 assists a night as a rookie. It's why many still call it the greatest rookie season in NBA history. Winning Rookie of the Year was a given, but finishing 6th in MVP voting, that's different. Just for context, Larry Bird won MVP that year with a stat line of 28.7 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. And Jordan wasn't just hanging with legends, he was already stealing votes from them. More first-place votes than Magic, more than Kareem, more than Moses Malone, more than Isaiah Thomas. It wasn't just stats, it was how he did it. Jordan made the impossible look routine. The only thing he hadn't cracked yet was winning. The Bulls finished 38-44. Jordan could fly, but the team around him was still learning how to take off. But here's the thing about greatness. It's not about lighting the world on fire for one season. It's about making the entire game orbit around you. But while most people point to the 6 championships, the finals MVPs, the undefeated finals record, Gilbert Arenas sees it differently. He says Jordan became the GOAT before the rings, way before.
When Jordan came in, what they seen was a whole different animal, right? You're seeing something that is different, moves different, talks different, approaches the game different, swag, phenomenal, right? This is the best thing we've seen. Right? I don't give a fuck what he does. This is the best player we've ever seen, right? It was the eye test, right? 88, 87, 88, like he literally went from the wings, they took the wings off. He got the logo.
Arenas continued.
They gave him a logo in 88. People don't realize that he got the logo in 88, right? They took the wings off and say, you got Jordan, right? So that whole campaign, and that is considered the greatest individual year anybody could have had. That's when he became the best player ever.
And Arenas points to one season, 1987 to 88, the year the world officially handed Jordan the crown, whether they admitted it yet or not. Before the trophies, before the GOAT label flooded every conversation, Jordan took the wings off and became something else. He didn't just earn respect, he became the standard. In 87 to 88, Jordan went nuclear. He averaged 35.0 points, 5.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, a ridiculous 3.2 steals, and 1.6 blocks while shooting 53.5% from the field. Statistically, you can argue it's the greatest MVP season ever, and still Jordan wasn't done. For his efforts that year, Jordan did something the league had literally never seen before. He became the first player in NBA history to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Oh, and just for good measure, he won the Slam Dunk Contest and the All-Star Game MVP that year too, all in one season. It wasn't just dominance, it was absurd. Whether people were ready to call him the GOAT or not yet, one thing was clear: Jordan was building his own legacy. But there was still one final test that separated stars from immortals: championships. Magic Johnson already had 5 rings. He wasn't just a superstar, he was basketball royalty. If Jordan wanted to sit at the same table, he had to take the crown directly from the king. In 1991, the moment arrived. Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls faced Magic Johnson and the mighty Lakers in the NBA Finals. Magic's Lakers were the last glow of the Golden Age. Jordan's Bulls were the New World Order. And in that series, Jordan rewrote what winning looked like. Against the greatest point guard of all time, Jordan posted numbers that barely even sound real: 31.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, 11.4 assists, 2.8 steals, 1.4 blocks per game, while shooting a blistering 56% from the field and 50% from deep. Jordan was orchestrating the offense. He was outpassing Magic while still shredding the Lakers' defense. It took just 5 games for the Bulls to lift their first championship trophy.
And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship.
And of course, Jordan took home the Finals MVP in style, but he wasn't satisfied with one. Greatness demands a sequel. In 1992, Jordan and the Bulls ran it back, this time against Clyde Drexler and the high-powered Portland Trail Blazers. Drexler was seen as the league's next best shooting guard. Jordan took that personally. He torched Portland for 35.8 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 6.5 assists a night, shooting a deadly 53% from the field. And then he delivered one of the most iconic moments in NBA Finals history. In Game 1, Jordan caught fire from beyond the arc, 6 three-pointers in a single half, from a guy who wasn't even known as a three-point shooter. After drilling his 6th bomb, he turned toward the scorer's table and just shrugged. The moment said it all. Even he couldn't believe how easy he was making it look. Jordan finished that game with 39 points and buried the Blazers before they even knew what hit them. The Bulls crushed Portland in 6 games. Jordan grabbed his 2nd straight Finals MVP, and the legend grew even larger. Back-to-back titles, back-to-back Finals MVPs, unstoppable confidence. This was the basketball world realizing they weren't watching a star. They were witnessing the final form of greatness itself. And how do you improve on back-to-back titles, back-to-back Finals MVPs, and a league that already fears your very existence? Simple. You win another one. And you do it by going straight through the best team in basketball. In 1993, the Bulls ran into the Phoenix Suns, a team people were calling the greatest team of that time. The Suns had ripped through the regular season, finishing with a league-best 62-20 record behind MVP Charles Barkley. They were supposed to be the final boss, the new era, the ones who could finally slow Jordan down. But Jordan once again grabbed the Bulls by the throat and dragged them across the finish line. He averaged an absurd 41.0 points, 8.5 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and 1.7 steals per game, while shooting a ridiculous 51% from the field and 40% from deep. The defining moment? Game 4. With the series hanging in the balance, Jordan exploded for 55 points, carving up Phoenix's defense with cold-blooded efficiency. Every time the Suns thought they had an answer, Jordan made them look foolish. Clutch shots, relentless drives, fadeaways that felt inevitable. By the time the final buzzer sounded, the Suns' entire defensive game plan was smoking rubble. In one night, Jordan had etched his name into the Finals history books as the most lethal scorer the championship stage had ever seen. Magic Johnson wasn't on the court anymore, but he was still there, watching from the analyst's chair. And when asked what he thought about the man who once chased his throne, Magic didn't hesitate.
Let me just say this. No question that Michael would have scored 50 on us or 50 on anybody else because he's just a great basketball player.
And honestly, if you ask me, this was peak Jordan. This was the performance that sits alone at the top of the mountain. No modern Finals masterpiece has ever truly touched it. Not LeBron's block in 2016, not Curry's three-point barrages, not even the heroic 50-point closer from Giannis. You'd think by now Jordan had nothing left to prove, but that's not how legends operate. In 1996, after an unprecedented 72-win season, the Bulls found themselves up against the Seattle Supersonics in the NBA Finals. This wasn't an easy ride to the trophy. Seattle brought Gary Payton, the ultimate trash-talking defensive demon, and Shawn Kemp, a human highlight reel. The Sonics were built to stop anyone. Problem was, Michael Jordan wasn't just anyone. In Game 6, with everything on the line, Jordan didn't just rely on scoring. He flipped the script. He outworked, outsmarted, and out-toughed one of the best defenses basketball had ever seen. He only scored 22 points, modest by his standards. But his fingerprints were everywhere, diving for loose balls, harassing passing lanes, making clutch defensive stops when it mattered most. And when the final buzzer sounded, Jordan had captured his 4th title, proving to the world he could still adapt, evolve, and dominate any way he needed to.
The Chicago Bulls have won the 95-96 NBA championship.
But if that wasn't enough to define his legacy, 1 year later, he delivered the performance that transcended basketball entirely. The flu game, 1997 NBA Finals, Game 5. The Bulls were locked in a brutal war against the Utah Jazz. Jordan was battling something way tougher than just defenders. He was fighting his own body. He could barely stand during timeouts. He looked drained before the ball even tipped off.
As the Michael that I have known or come to know. But throughout that game, you could just see he started to feel it a little bit. And as always, once he started to feel it, we just flooded with the basketball. But you know, he was very quiet. Didn't say much when he went to the bench. He was just kind of in his own world. And for guys who never played with Michael, I've played with him, so I've seen these moments where he kind of shunned everybody out. And that was one of those moments where he was just trying to gather himself and just stay in the game. We thought at any moment he may go to the locker room or puke up on the floor.
And yet, he played and dropped 38 points on one of the grittiest teams in NBA history. Late in the game, with the Bulls clinging to a fragile lead, Jordan rose up and buried a crucial three-pointer, the kind of shot that deflates an entire arena. By the time the buzzer sounded, Chicago had stolen the win, and Jordan collapsed into Scottie Pippen's arms, completely spent. It wasn't just the numbers that made the flu game legendary. It was the message. No excuses. No surrender. No weakness. By 1998, Jordan had already done everything a player could dream of. MVPs, titles, records. But what came next wasn't just a championship. It was mythology. In what many call the defining image of his career, Jordan delivered one last masterpiece in Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals. The Bulls trailed the Utah Jazz by a single point, less than 20 seconds left. The dynasty was teetering. Then Jordan made a play that didn't show up on the scoreboard, but won the Bulls the game. He ripped the ball away from Karl Malone in the post. A perfect steal, pure instincts, pure will. Jordan didn't rush. With seconds ticking down, he went to work. A crossover on Brian Russell. Some say there was a shove. Others say it was momentum. Either way, Russell was gone. Jordan rose up, pulled the trigger, and delivered the last shot. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 1 final cold-blooded dagger to end it all. That single sequence, steal, crossover, shot, perfectly captured everything Jordan ever was, clutch. Jordan's numbers are insane, sure, but the thing that truly set him apart? The mentality, the killer instinct, the iron will, the psychological warfare. Jordan didn't just beat you, he crushed your soul. Every practice, in every possession feared him. That relentless edge became a legend all by itself. And it's why no matter how many numbers you stack, no matter how many trophies you count, there's only one Jordan. So when exactly did Michael Jordan become the GOAT? Was it the rookie brilliance? The historic 1988 season? Taking down Magic in 91? 6 titles? 6 finals MVPs? Or maybe it was the moment the whole world realized you're not just watching greatness, you're watching history happen.
Michael Jordan is my GOAT. I play basketball because of Michael Jordan.
Listen, Michael's the best I've ever seen.
Maybe the top player of all time. I mean, I hold him in that kind of regard.
The truth is, it wasn't just one moment. It was all of them. The rookie brilliance, the record-shattering seasons, the finals heroics, the mind games, the cold-blooded last shot. Every moment mattered. But the real turning point? It came when basketball itself all realized at once the standard had changed. When even icons like Magic Johnson openly bowed to his greatness, when the sports world stopped comparing and just started marveling, That's when Michael Jordan stopped being a player and became the measuring stick for greatness. He didn't just climb the mountain, he built it. And even now, decades later, everyone's still chasing his shadow. That's why Michael Jordan isn't just the GOAT, he's the definition of it. And that, above all, is why Michael Jordan became and remains the undisputed greatest of all time. Now it's your turn. When do you think Michael Jordan truly became the GOAT?